This is a video to go over how to edit the variables that are on your version of EmpowerDB. You may want to have already watched the video I made for how to add in new variables. The link to that video is in the description of this. So let's start off by going to Database Administration, and let's go to our information pages. And in our last video, we learned that you can only add variables directly into your site's master page. But you can actually edit the variables on any one of these information pages. So let's say we want to go to the basic information community page. We can go to edit this page structure. And now we have the option of editing the variables here. But just keep in mind that if this variable, let's say we want to edit this variable, if it exists on any other information page, the changes that we make here will also apply to wherever else this variable exists. So let's click on the settings button here, and we can edit the importance settings, and that's how to say, okay, this element is important, has importance, so it's going to remind the staff to fill this in. Or we can say this has importance only if part of program is filled in, or only if part of program is filled in with community program. And then we can also say we only want this variable visible if the above requirements are met. So importance settings are a very big thing for helping staff know when variables are expected to be filled in or not. So we're not going to save any of those changes there. We can also edit the name of this variable. So we can say, you know, I don't know, method of first contact. We can also edit the options of this variable. Not all variables have this ability to edit the options, only the select one and check off select multiple variables, you'll be able to edit the options. So let's click here to edit the options. So here's a list of our options as they are now. We have in-person, phone, this and this. And you'll also see that each of the options have a code associated with it. Now, these codes you'll never really see besides looking at this screen right here. It's kind of just the internal way the database is tracking what in-person is. It doesn't save, you know, if you select in-person for a client, click save, it's not saving in-person for that client, it's actually saving to. And then later on in the database it knows, okay, to is in-person. So these codes, it's very important that you kind of stay consistent with these codes. It doesn't really matter what codes you use as long as you don't come back here and change them. So if I change that to 4 and that to 3, you know, all of our existing entries, it used to be 3 here and 4 there, I've just switched them all. So that would be an example of a really bad thing that you would not want to do. You might see that sometimes codes for other are always 88, and codes for unknown are always 99. But really, again, it doesn't matter what those things are. That's kind of just something that's always been the case. You're free to use whatever code you want, or you're free to just not typing in any code, and the database will kind of guess which code that you should have for you. So feel free to just do that. On the left here, you can see these up and down arrow things. You can use this to change the position of these variables. So let's say like public method first contact, and we can save the changes. So that's it. That's how to edit the options of your variables. Now there's one more bit we want to go over, and let's go back to our information pages and edit our master information page. Edit page structure there. So you might notice that some of the variables are crossed out. You cannot edit the options for those variables. And sometimes you can't edit the option, and sometimes you can't even edit the name. And that's because some of the variables in the system have been locked. And we can actually click on there and it'll tell us why. This variable is locked for editing. All variables that are used in your funder reports will be locked, as well as a handful of variables that are essential to the EmpowerDB system. So if you have a variable that you want to change that happens to be locked, you must contact EmpowerDB support to either let me know what changes you want made, or request that variable be unlocked. But if that variable is used in one of your funder reports, chances are it just can't be unlocked. That funder report, if you add in an option to a variable, that your funder reports need to know what to do with that option, how to translate it. So that's where EmpowerDB support has to really come in hand for that to happen. Some variables, so when you'll see that we're on our master information page, and we can let's see, marital status. So we can completely remove a variable from the database from this page. So if you just want to get rid of the whole thing, everything, remove variable from database, and it's going to give you a giant warning for what that means, that you're actually getting rid of all that data for everyone, and it's going to ask you to put in your password to confirm that you want to have that done. But again, a lot of these variables, you'll notice, are locked. You can't remove this from the database. They're needed for your funder reports or are crucial for the operation of the database. So next I'll make a video on how to add new point in time blocks of information. The video for that will be in the link to that video will be in the description of this video, as well as a link to the previous video on how to add variables into the system.